Alright, so today we're going to be changing the spark plugs. I've got my water meth kit in there. I've got my MSD ignition over here. I'm running a little bit cold spark plugs right now. They got high insulation over the tips and fine points. I'll show you that when we pull them out. But we're going to replace them with NGK's V-Power ones. My brother's got them in his 94 Range Rover, and they seem to be doing just fine. They're a little bit hotter spark plug. I'm hoping that I'm going to get a little bit better fuel mileage and stuff like that. I'm actually going down a grade of spark plugs, but that's okay. So when you first start pulling your plugs on any car, really, this is an aluminum block, so you just gotta make sure you get the torque settings just right. We got our, what do we got here? A 13/16 socket. Got a new Craftsman wrench because lifetime warranty. We busted our old one. A couple of extensions right there, but obviously first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna move out of my mass airflow or air intake tube right here so we get to the back one without busting anything. That's easy enough. Just unplug your mass airflow sensor. I've already labeled all my wires, so those are all set and ready to go for when I did my cam and everything like that. So we're just going to replace those. I do have NGKs in there right now. I forget what's in there. They're like some sort of platinum. I can't remember, but they're a colder running plug. And yeah, we're just going to swap them out with these bad boys right here, and we're going to test them out. I'm getting about 12, 13 miles a gallon with those plugs around town. We'll see what we get with these new ones, and yeah, I'm hoping for a little bit more performance with my meth kit installation. Alright, so we just removed my air intake tube. I've already taken the plugs off the east side, and I've actually already loosened all the plugs down there. Just a tip, these are custom cut wires that I made myself. 8mm wires, because no one else really had them that thick that I wanted. Just a tip, don't ever grab them by the wire out here. You might actually break the core that's in here, so you want to make sure you grab the boot. Wiggle it a little bit, it'll pop right off. You hear that little suction cup right there? Again, every single one, wiggle it a little bit and pop right off. If there's any problem pulling it off, just make sure you think about it before you pull off. Don't do anything wrong. Because if you start up afterwards and it's like not idling right, you're lack of power, you might think, oh no, maybe I put the wrong firing order in, maybe the spark plugs are no good, or you could have just broken the core in these wires here. It's very delicate. You don't want to do that. Yep. And now we're just going to pull these guys out, loosen them all up, aluminum block, make sure you're going lefty-loosey, not righty-tighty, because you could strip out your threads on your beautiful aluminum heads, and believe me, you don't want to do that. Alright, so I've already loosened them all up. I'm just going to spin one off right here. This is cylinder number 1. Just going to take a look. I've already taken these off a couple days ago just to see how they're doing with the water meth kit. Just do them by your hand. You don't need a tool for this. It's better you can actually feel the threads and everything like that and make sure you're not screwing anything up, literally. Let's take a look at her right there. Not bad. This is a colder running plug. It is a high performance plug. As you can see, the insulation is pretty far up on it, and like it has that smaller tip that I mentioned. But the other ones, I'll just compare them at the end of this video just to see how they compare. I'm going to line them all up just in case. I'm going to take a photo of them in case there's any problems in the future. I can see how those cylinders were actually running. Cylinders 3 and 5 on this motor have been replaced, so see if any oil burn or any carbon buildup or anything like that will get on the plugs. It'll help me decipher any problems or any funky running conditions in the future, because this is a living thing and it does have a pulse. Gotta make sure you keep track of that stuff. Alright, so here we got all the plugs out. As you can see, all the plugs are out. We're comparing, these are BPR 5EGP, or these are G-Power plugs. These are a little bit colder running plug. They're a little bit more higher performance plug. Obviously they cost a little bit more. I think they're one step below the NGK like Platinum series, I guess you could say. This is a little bit more durable plug, a little bit, or I should say, a little bit more hardy, a little bit more traditional. This is the V-Power, so it's BPR 5EY, or the V-Power series. This is one step below. And if you just take a look at the insulator on the tip right here, you can't really tell with that one right next to it, but yep, there we go. If you can see that the actual points right there are actually, look how small that is. Okay, the insulator is pretty much all the way up, and it's got a very small firing point. With my MSD and my ignition wires, it was finally able to run these plugs, but before I did that, it wouldn't run right. That's because it didn't have enough to drive it and everything like that. Now these are a little bit more traditional, so a traditional Range Rover like my brother's without any ignition upgrades can run this plug, but I wouldn't recommend using this one because it might run a little rough. The stock system really doesn't have enough to push it through that plug, but this plug does just fine. This plug's a little bit hotter plug because less insulation's up around the tip there. So I'm hoping I'm going to put these ones in and get less carbon buildup and more performance, more power, and everything like that. So hopefully the little V groove right there, or the V power, does its job, burns a little bit hotter, and likes the MSD and my ignition wire setup, and gives me the performance I want. Alright, so if you look on the front of your Range Rovers down here, it'll say like the catalyst and everything like that, and it says 0.0 or 0.033 or 0.038 thousandths of an inch for spark plug gap. That's the tolerance. So what I've been doing is that mine right here, these old ones here, I gapped them so that way they're 0.038, the larger end of the scale. So if you just look what I'm doing, it's pretty much 0.036. If you just touch it, it'll focus. There you go. You can just tweak it just a little bit, bend it up, make sure you don't crack your insulation, and even this a little bit, I'm hoping to get, that's probably the sweet spot, so that way the corner right there is on the 4 thousandths of an inch, so right between that is probably about 0.038. That's how I've been doing them. I did all these other plugs over here. These ones, the old ones, kept their tolerance pretty much. These ones opened up just a little bit, but I don't know what I did before. I might have made the center there. So I mean, these old ones are pretty okay. Obviously they're not more than a couple thousand miles and everything like that, but I like changing my spark plugs and seeing what performance I get with them. So I'm going to put these new ones in there. They're at 38 thousandths of an inch. Torque those guys down. I forget what the torque setting is, but make sure you got the right setting for the aluminum heads, and we'll see how they do. I know you can't really see that well. Maybe if I get flashlight just right. Yeah, you can kind of see this top of the cylinder back in there, but they're starting to clean up. These ones over here still got some junk on top of them, but if you come over to cylinder, what is it, 246? No, excuse me. Cylinder number 2. You can't really see, but you can actually see the numbers on top in the cylinder. That's how clean it is. I'm starting to see like the metal coloring of the cylinder come back versus black carbon and deposits on top. I don't know if that's just because it's starting to clean up or what. Maybe because of the methanol injection, because it's supposed to help clean your engine. But it is actually starting to clean it up, because these weren't that clean before I started doing the water methanol. Actually, cylinder number 8 back there is actually looking really clean. It's got that, spotty deposits on it, but nothing solid caked on there. So I'm actually really happy with the way it's cleaning up. Hopefully when I get these new plugs in it, the hotter burning plugs, they'll help clean it up even more. Because it has a steam engine effect, and it basically steam cleans your engine. And you can take a look in my plenum here. It's actually really clean. You can see the little bits of stain from the coloring of the water methanol, but it's really clean. It's really cleaning it up and everything, just like it says, just like it should. But we're gonna put these plugs in, give it a start up, and then maybe take it for a test drive and torque them down.